Welcome back, everyone. If you've just tuned in, you missed a pretty one-sided quarterfinals match between TSM and BBG, where TSM did come out on top. But don't worry, we have the semi-finals coming up shortly. But before we get into that, I am here, as you can see, with TSM's HAZED. Thank you so much for joining me.
No problem. Pleasure to be here.
Well, that game seemed like you guys didn't really even break a sweat. So talk me through your immediate reactions after that game, and how would you rate yours and your teammates' performances?
Yeah. So leading into this tournament, we haven't really played that well. We kind of got smashed in our last match in our last tournament. So it kind of put us on watch and made us focus a lot more. And we went to the server and really talked about stuff and we're trying to fill in the gaps that we have right now. And I think we've done a pretty good job so far. We still have a lot to work on, but I mean, after the match, we felt good. We don't normally smash that hard on CT sides. That was a big problem for us. And that, I mean, so far this tournament, we've been destroying people on CT side. So clearly the work we're putting in is good, and we're in a pretty good mood.
Well, Cutler was our MVP today. How much of an impact do you think he brings to this roster?
Oh, I mean, Cutler's experience. I mean, Cutler. He's done it all. He's been around for a long time. I've known him for a long time, and he started off as an opper in North America back in the 1.6 days. He transitioned to rifler. He even in-game led. So he's pretty much played every role. So he brings a lot of experience and a very calm mindset to the team. He doesn't really get tilted. He likes to, he's the middleman a lot of the times when it comes to communication. And he won a very crucial round for us, actually. Well, he didn't necessarily win it with his aim or anything. He made a calm in a one-on-one that basically won us the round. It was like half of him winning the round, and Wardell hit a nice shot. So, that's the kind of stuff he brings to a team.
So that is actually your 6th consecutive win on Haven, I believe. Of course, everyone already know that you guys are kind of absolute beasts right now on that map. But somehow you do keep improving, and you guys did seem to have a lot of quite drilled retakes today, and particularly on A side. I just wanted to know that when it comes to strats, and as you mentioned just now, you guys have gone on the server and done some server time to be more structured and to be more drilled. So just how much time have you spent doing that? And in terms of those strats, who is sort of the mastermind behind that?
Ooh, and how much time have we put in? We put in probably, it's anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, 5 days a week in server time. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. Like this week, we had to cancel some scrims because my power went out for 2 hours. So then they sat in a server, my team and my coach sat in a server, and they just went out, created new stuff while I wasn't there. And so that's the kind of stuff we do every day. We always try to innovate. We always try to be the meta and not follow it. So as far as like the retakes and stuff, some of that stuff, it's more like we're doing on the fly, but we didn't necessarily rehearse it. It's just like we all kind of understand and we communicate how we're going to do it, and then we go together and everyone agrees to it. Yeah, we put in a lot of work, and who's the mastermind? I mean, it's everyone. Everyone has to bring something. It's not a one-man show. It never is.
Would you be able to disclose, some of the strats you've done, who's sort of been behind that? Because I think people have sort of speculated who's the sort of brains behind a lot of the strategies that you do pull out in officials.
I can't say. All I can tell you is that everyone is pitching in. Everyone is, bringing something to practice that is an idea, maybe not a strategy, but sometimes it's just a little play you can make that leads into a bigger strategy later. So it's definitely a team effort.
I guess Bind, on the other hand, seems to be more of a coin toss for you guys. But you played really, really confident today on that map. So is this something that you guys are more comfortable now? And is this as a result of, like you said, putting more work into improving your game?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We've spent a lot of time on Bind. We were historically quite bad on it. 100 Thieves really put us on notice early on. I would say probably about a month ago on that map, because we would scrim them. And every time we'd scrim them, they would, I mean, I'm not kidding when I say we might have gotten 4 rounds in an entire game, and every time we played them. So we really put in a lot of work on Bind. We avoided it for a long time, but now we're really confident on it. We put in a lot of work. So yeah, if you pick Bind against us, it's not going to work.
Speaking of those teams do always cite you guys as one of the teams to beat. So I wanted who, in your opinion, is the team for beat for you guys, and who do you think is sort of leading the pack right now in the North American competitive scene?
Yeah, so I mean, for us, it's very clearly Sentinels that are the team to beat. They humiliated us in the last tournament, so we're really looking forward to playing them again. We want to, they're due on it for a beating. As for who besides them, I mean, because there is a little bit of a personal grudge there with Sentinels. I would say if I had to drop all bias, I mean, T1 had a bad tournament, but the roster itself is filled with so much talent and experience that they should be able to bounce back. And they're going to be a threat. And if people think they're a bad team just because of that one result, then they're sorely mistaken for sure.
Like you just said, you guys like to sort of try and get ahead of the meta and not do what other people are doing. And Wardell have said in the past that he does keep up with the European scene as well. And he's learned, a few things here and there from G2's Mixwell in particular. Is this something that you do as a team? And have you sort of personally been watching any other play styles and metas from other scenes and sort of been borrowing from them and learning from them?
Oh, absolutely. Our coach Taylor is a big proponent of this, and he does it more than the rest of us. He always will watch the other regions. I mean, he watched. There was a Japanese tournament I think a month ago.
Yeah.
And he watched the Japanese tournament, watched the VODs, and brought some ideas from their game that they were doing. And yeah, we do it for Europe as well. And if there's other regions that are going to be broadcasting tournaments, we'll definitely be watching and stealing stuff. Because I mean, ultimately, you can't have an ego and think that you know what's right all the time. You know all the strategies. You got to always branch out and look in other regions. And we look at EU for sure. Me personally, I've watched some G2 games. I gotta admit, their strategy is a little weak, but they have strong players. So I mean, individually speaking, they're strong, but their strategy is very weak. And they'll evolve eventually. And once they do, well, trust me, we'll be stealing stuff.
Oh, I look forward to it. Just looking ahead now to this tournament and your next semi-finals game, you'll be either playing T1 Academy or Gen G, and it's sort of looking like it's going to be Gen G as they are one map up. The last time you guys faced them, you did come out on top, but it was a close game. You took them to the third map. What did you learn from that experience, and how do you see this matchup going if you are going to play them next?
I mean, Gen G is always a tough team for us. Every time we play them, whether it's a match or a scrim, we go 3. Always, 13-11, sometimes overtime. It's very close with them, and we match up in that way that makes the games exciting. So, I mean, I'm hoping when we play them, we can just 2-0 them. That would be really comforting. But I expect it to go 3, just because of our history, for sure.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time and insight. And that was super, super interesting. And there we have it, guys. TSM are through to the semifinals. And that is everything from me for now. Handing this back to you, Sam, Dor, and Anders, who will take you guys through to the next game.